You're looking at a made-to-measure blind from the future. This is the SmartWings Matter-enabled motorized cell blind, and it's powered by the sun, even in the UK, where we don't have one. Today's forecast is bland. There's some bland pushing in from the east, a little bit more bland pushing in from the west. Today's forecast overall for the country, bland. Tomorrow's forecast, however, bland. I did that joke a few months ago, and someone in the comment section was like, if you don't like it, why don't you move? I would. If I could afford to go to Florida and live there, I'd go to Florida and live there, you maniac. Thanks to SmartWings for sponsoring today's video and for sending me their remote controllable, Matter-enabled cell blind and solar panel. This is the nicest looking blind I've been sent so far, and it has a premium vibe that I haven't yet seen in any other smart home blind. And at time of filming, it works with Apple Homekit, Amazon Alexa, Samsung SmartThings, and will soon work with Google Home and others too. I've covered a whole bunch of really awesome smart blinds over the years, but none of them have quite got this kind of premium vibe that this thing gives off. What do you think of it, Lord Farkington Smythe? Of course you do, because poshos love cellular blinds. But there is actually a good reason for this. Cellular blinds are a really good insulator. Because they have these pockets of air between the material, not only are they good for noise reduction, they also help to keep heat in your home during the winter and keep heat out of your home during the summer. They're not designed this way just to look pretty. The Department of Energy in 2016 for the US said in a study it reduced heating bills by up to 20%. Considering a medium-sized home in the UK will cost £2,073 on the heating bill alone this year, you're looking at a saving of £414 a year. If these things last you 10 years, you're looking at a total saving of over £4,000. Well, now I'm looking at them like... There's only one other thing I think worth mentioning as a feature of this product, and that is that it's an amazing blackout blind. I stupidly ordered one that sits outside the window frame, but if this was pressed up against the window, I don't think it would let any light through at all. It's got like a silver coating on the inside of the material, and there's just no way for light to pass through. So if you're looking for a blackout blind, this is like top of the range. The packaging, as is so often the case, looks like the delivery driver got hungry halfway through his shift. Which is a little bit careless, considering the damage is right next to a big yellow sticker that says fragile on it. One of the first things to note is how very, very light it is, and entirely unsuitable for weight training. But what it is good for is that it's not putting too much drain on the internal battery because the cells weigh practically nothing. It has these clever little spring-mounted brackets, which means that the installation is a simple case of screwing the clips to either the wall or the ceiling, as it can be mounted to either, and then hooking the blind in and pushing up. Other than sticking the solar panel to the window, that's kind of it. What you'll quickly come to realise is that if you've got the power supply at one end where you have a window that opens, you won't have anywhere to mount the solar panel. Fortunately, SmartWings have thought of this, and you can actually spin the thing all the way around so that the power supply is at the other end, because the power supply is at the front and the back of the device, as is the pairing button. And if you do decide to spin the blind round, the only thing you'll lose is the SmartWings logo. What you'll get instead is a very small sticker that definitely won't give you an embolism.
Go! Get off! Bloody gluey mess! It's not actually that bad. It's fine.
So SmartWings have thought of everything. Almost. There is just one thing, and I'll explain this in some footage that I filmed on the fly. It's still funny. I don't know what you're looking at me like that for. It's still funny.
This is slightly problematic. There's a power supply this side and a power supply that side, but there's no way to get the cable in if you've attached it to something like this. the rear part's fine if you've got like it in a ceiling, or if it's in the alcove, you'd be fine. But there's no way to connect it like this. You'd have to connect it into the front and then kind of wrap the cable around the back somehow. And also, if you do have to poke this out the front, there's no way of reattaching this on the back. So you'll always have that. Oops. There's no way of getting this back on. It doesn't go that way up. So you can't do that. It has to go that way around. It's the only way it'll fit on, but of course then that's in the way. You could alter this fairly easily, I think, with a hacksaw or something.
Once it's mounted, you'll need to pair the remote to the blind, something that I was able to figure out all by myself. The motor should already be paired, but for whatever reason mine was not, and I quickly discovered I hadn't been sent any batteries, which reminded me of what my dad used to say when I was a kid. "I'm not bloody made of batteries!" Which was a little bit ironic because my father was in fact made of batteries. And for some reason from Yorkshire. I do this for a living, and it would mean the world to me if you could hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and just give this video a thumbs up. It really does make a difference to YouTube's algorithm. Without you guys, I have no living, and I love doing this. So please help me keep doing this and hit that button. On with the show. Adding the device to Alexa is just a simple case of holding the blind's pairing button for 6 seconds and then searching for the device in the Amazon app using the Matter option, and then when asked to, scan the Matter barcode on the blind. Because this is all very new tech, she then has no idea how to control the blind. You do have to create a routine in the Alexa app that says, if I say the words open the blind, then open the blind. And if I say close the blinds, then close the blind. At least it works. Google Home, on the other hand, went a bit more like this. Please find the Matter blind. But you haven't added the border router yet. You are a border router. Why haven't you added a border router yet? You are a border router. What? Why don't you add a border router? You are a border router. I can't do it unless you add a border. You are a border router! Have you considered adding a border router? I'm not joking. What, you are a thread border router. What is wrong with you? Oh, God. Oh, Google, get your act together. Seriously. I know it does. It's connected to one, you thick Google goes down in my estimation on a weekly basis, and I cannot wait for them to bow out of the smart home race so I can stop trying to add stuff to their rubbish product. Sorry about that. SmartWings are investigating this, but I personally suspect this is a Google issue. Home Assistant does have the same problem, but I suspect for a different reason. Even if I add this thing to my Amazon Echo as the border router and then try to share it using a pairing code, Home Assistant still asks for a border router. Why haven't you added a border router? If any of this changes, I'll let you know in the description. Go check down there to see if anything has been resolved. It's not the loudest blind in the world, but it isn't the quietest either. I think if you had this as part of a morning routine in your bedroom, it would definitely wake you up whether you wanted it to or not. Secondly, as of time of filming, we have this issue. Is the photography studio blind open?
Photography studio doesn't support that.
Apparently not. Actually, when I spoke to SmartWings, they were surprised it worked at all. So have some patience with that one. It probably will get resolved as Matter rolls out more substantially. More importantly, I think for anyone who is into HomeKit, it works just fine with that, so I am told. I personally can't test this because my iPhone is too old. Good. So I was going to say that this isn't necessarily the best blind if you have kids, because you know what tiny little fists are like, and this looks like quite a delicate blind. I even went as far as creating a Tiny Fists Blu-ray cover for a joke. It's a waste of time because turns out it's fine. I got some courage up. I didn't want to punch it because it's such an expensive piece of equipment, and eventually I thought, well, that's what I'm paid to do, so I give it a good old whack. It's actually way more durable than it looks. It just bounced straight back into shape. It's probably fine if you've got kids, so This doesn't even really belong in this section. And finally, cell blinds are expensive. The ones that you're looking at today are about £300, I think, total, including the remote and the solar panel. This is actually not as bad as it sounds because cellular blinds on Amazon that are RF based, not matter enabled, these are old school technology, are £200. And they don't work with Alexa and Google Home and all the rest of it. They use a Broadlink RM4 Pro or other similar RF controller to control them, and what they don't tell you in their advert is you'll have to buy a Broadlink RM4 Pro, which costs £50. So they're actually 250 quid for an old style of technology that you wouldn't be able to ask if the blinds were open, regardless of whether you're using HomeKit or Alexa, because they're not actually smart at all. They're dumb blinds being controlled in a clever, smart way. If you install these things on every window of your house, it's going to take a very long time before your energy saving has caught up with your initial spend. But if you were thinking of getting smart blinds anyway for convenience, or because you have a health condition, or simply because you want to feel like you live on the Enterprise,
Engage.
well then the energy saving offsets at least some of the cost, and you either want the smartest, poshest blinds on the market or you don't. You can manually adjust the limits of this blind using the setup function of the remote, and even set a favorite position that can be recalled by holding the stop button. These are some of the nicest blinds on the market. If you're interested in picking some up, then as usual, the link's in the description as to where you can get some. In the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this video. These amazing people, without them, it wouldn't be here. You've got them to thank. If you want to be one of these incredible people, they're my patrons from Patreon. And you can do that at either Patreon or buy me a one-off beer at PayPal. And either way, I genuinely love you forever. These are my Facebooks and my Twitters and my Instagrams and my TikToks too. Come and hang out there and we can be best friends. See you next time.